Okay, welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I hope you're having a great week. Super excited to go through some stuff with you today. We've been doing some strategy meetings with some partners that have been in here. Lisa's been in the office, and we have some great stuff that we're going to be coming out with. But before I get started, let me go to the Daily Mastermind mobile app. If you haven't downloaded this, it's free. Tons of content, ebooks, audiobooks, meditations. Make sure you're using it. And the quote of the day today is from Carrie Green, and it's, I have the power to take control over my thoughts rather than letting them control me. That's a great point. And obviously, if you believe you create your life, you believe that 100%. Your thoughts definitely control and create your life. One of the topics of our discussion today. But I want to talk to you a little bit about how sometimes we let our vision of the future blind us from red flags in the present. And what I mean by that, and a conversation that came up through some heavy discussion with our mastermind today, is that why do we sometimes, and people say this a lot to me as well, why do we sometimes feel like we're doing everything right? We're doing everything right, but we're just not getting the result that we're looking for. And what I mean by everything right is you say to yourself, you know, I have the vision and the goals, and I'm doing my affirmations, and I'm doing my meditation, and maybe my daily rituals, but I'm just not where I want to be. I'm not getting the results that I want. I'm not where I really think I should be because I'm doing everything that I'm told I'm supposed to do. And as we talked a little bit about this in our mastermind today, we sort of came back with this idea that there are probably some red flags that you're missing along the way. There are probably some very good reasons that you're not getting the results, but you're just not aware of why. So I'm going to talk with you a little bit today about some of the reasons I think you might not be getting the results that you want, and yet there are some red flags along the way that you just aren't seeing. And what this takes is sometimes this takes a good hard look at your situation and your circumstances, and some of us aren't great at doing that. So I'm going to give you some things that you might be aware of, some red flags that you might want to look for in your life. And the first one is, sometimes, and look, I've been guilty of this for sure, but sometimes the problem is that you're focused so much on your vision of the future that it's robbing you of your awareness of the present, meaning you can't see the forest through the trees, right? And so you might be so focused on the end result that you are not recognizing the red flags along the way. You're not recognizing that you're truly not on the path, and you're not putting your time and focus into areas that you really should. And, you know, that's why we talk about the fact that really truly successful people, they really learn to ground themselves in the present, because that's the only time and place you can truly execute on your goals and your dreams and your desires. Because if you're so focused on the future that you're missing red flags that maybe a third person like a mentor or coach or somebody might be able to identify to you, then you truly are missing those signs along the way. Another problem is, and this is a really deep, heavy one, and I want you to think about this, is that you might have some internal obstacles or struggles that are keeping you from realizing the success that you want. You know, most entrepreneurs, even the really confident ones, struggle with self-worth, self-esteem, confidence. And when you struggle with these things and you don't truly believe that you're worthy of success, that you truly can be successful, and you don't learn to work on and identify the triggers of low self-confidence, low self-esteem, or lack of confidence, right, or self-worth, you're going to never really achieve the results and unleash the true potential that you deserve, that you desire, that you're capable of, right? The life that you're capable of living. And these internal obstacles need to be identified. You can't push those to the side and expect to do all the right things and get the results that you want. Another problem, and this is a common one, another problem is that you may consciously, not just subconsciously, but you might be subconsciously or consciously overlooking the red flags in your life. Meaning, you may be someone that doesn't like to deal with conflict. And I'll tell you right now, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't like to deal with conflict and you avoid conflict, you're probably not going to get very far, because failure usually goes hand in hand with conflict, and failing faster is a way to create success. The other thing is you might be overlooking or thinking that things are going to change. Sometimes we see a red flag, but we consciously say, we can fix that, we can overcome that, we don't want to deal with it because it'll eventually change. And this can happen not just in your business, but your relationships, your communication, partners, vendors, individuals, clients that you're working with. If you feel like you're waiting for people to change or things to change or your circumstances to change or your environment to change, even if you're doing everything you want to do or need to do or should do, you're not going to see the success that you want to see. And that's a big red flag that you need to be aware of. Another problem that may be keeping you from truly recognizing the success that you are capable of is that you may not be listening or aware of your environment. We're talking about this because some of you are out there in the marketplace and you have, a product or a service, or you have an idea that you're just so sold on that you are not recognizing the fact that you need to adjust to the current economic environment. People that did not move online or move to Zoom meetings versus live meetings or things like that, they weren't adopting or adapting to the marketplace. They're struggling with their business, even if they're doing everything right. And that's why I say you've got to be more aware. You can't just do the steps that you need to do. You have to be aware of your environment. You have to be aware, and you have to listen more than you speak, right? And I've been guilty of that. We've all been guilty of speaking more than listening. But the best way to become aware of where you're at, recognize red flags, is to get feedback, to be aware of the environment. Another problem, and this is something that I think is a real secret, silent obstacle to your successes, that is, you may have a pattern or a willingness to settle. Meaning, Lisa mentioned earlier today, good is the enemy of great, right? We've all heard that, right? Good is the enemy of great. A lot of entrepreneurs that I've worked with are successful, but they're not successful to the degree they want to be. As a result, they're not fulfilled, they're not as happy, they're not as satisfied, and they wonder why they're not where they want to be, because sometimes when you take that short-term win, you cost yourself the long-term ultimate victory, right? So if you have a pattern or willingness, sometimes we don't see this as a weakness because we look at, hey, we're winning. But if you're winning and you're not satisfied, it could be that you're not winning at the level you could be winning. You can go down to the minors and you can win all the games in the world, but you're never going to be successful to the degree that you feel fulfilled because you're not in the majors winning games, or you're not willing to go the extra distance. So don't have a pattern or willingness to settle. And the last one that I want to mention is, and I absolutely think this is a key for people that are entrepreneurs, investors. Maybe this, for sure applies to relationships and communication as well, as, are you letting your emotions and your ego distract you or manipulate you from what you know you really need to do or should do or could do or are capable of? So if you're letting your emotions or your ego get in the way, you may also be rationalizing, I'm doing everything right, I'm doing all these things, but your emotions and ego are distracting you. So a case in point, if you're an investor, that's a great place. I've had so many people want to learn to invest, and whether it's real estate, stocks, asset, currency, foreign exchange, digital currency, one of the rule number one, right out of the gates, right, 101 is got to get to the investor mindset. Because if you don't have the right investor mindset and you let ego or emotion affect your solutions for trading, you're never going to ultimately be successful. The first rule is you've got to take your emotions out. And that happens in everywhere, in every type of business you have, if you let your emotions. So let me give you some examples of red flags that you may be doing, activities, things that you may be doing that are keeping you from success, even if you're doing everything else right. Maybe you're too in love with your product, even though the marketplace is telling you that the product you have is not going to work. But you're so in love with your product, you're so in love with whatever it is that you've spent so much time and energy in, you're in this stock, whatever it is, you're so in love with it that you're not listening to the marketplace around you. Maybe you are trading and you're letting your emotions get the best of you and you're taking small wins and you're not getting the ultimate long-term victories that you want. Maybe you're letting fear in your business keep you from taking certain risks. Maybe there are certain risks that you know you want to take, should take, could take, and maybe could even pallet, but you're not taking them because you're letting your fear and emotions, rob you of that success. The other thing is these short-term payouts that you might get from a job, or the recognition, or you may be wasting money on things that are giving you, short-term recognition or fulfillment, but not long-term happiness. And another example of that is you may be too busy. I've had a few people tell me that. You might be too busy to actually make decisions and organize your schedule in the way you want to, even though you can. So make sure that you're not too busy to be productive, and that you're not too emotional to make the right decisions, that you're not too fearful to do the things that you need to do to be outside your comfort zone. And maybe some of you, and this is another thing I just kind of thought of, some of you are so busy learning that you're keeping yourself from implementing. So many of you are so busy analyzing and creating and getting set up that you're so set up you're not executing. So the reason I bring this up is because I know that whether you say it out loud or not, many, many, many entrepreneurs are asking themselves the questions, why am I not where I need to be? Why am I doing all the things that I know I need to do? And I've got my daily rituals, and I've gone to courses and programs and workshops. I've done all these things I want to do, and I'm not getting the result I want. And what I'm telling you is that you probably, if you really think about it, know the red flags that are happening in your life. You probably know the things that are keeping you back from it. And sometimes it just it takes a healthy discussion like this to make you more aware of it. So what I would do is I would encourage you to really spend some time and dig into what the red flags are, because success leaves clues, failure leaves clues as well. And those red flags are out there. You just need to look for them, and you need to identify them. And it's not just about doing all the things right. It's about identifying the things that are keeping you back as well and finding ways to overcome those obstacles. So that's my message for today. Do me a favor, share this podcast, share this episode with somebody you think can benefit. It always helps you to internalize things more when you teach as well. I look forward to talking with you a little bit more. Like and subscribe to the podcast, and let's take it into the week and see how we can apply these principles into what we're working on this week so that we can gain that knowledge even a little deeper. So once again, this is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind, and we'll talk with you soon. Have a great day.